This Red Sox series with the Yankees is just not going Boston's way in the least bit. They're now in danger of getting swept in this 4-game series by New York. But if there is a bright side to all of this, they still have not given up a home run to Aaron Judge.
You are Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. That's BetOnline, where the game starts. So this Red Sox-Yankees series has been all fun and games for the Yankees. They've won the last 3. We talked about Thursday's game on Friday's episode of Locked On Red Sox, and this is a surprise Saturday episode of the show. We're going to look at Friday and Saturday's games. Both were losses, like I said. We're going to talk Aaron Judge. We have to, right? He's on the verge of making history, and he still has not done it. We'll talk about his quest for the AL home run record. We're going to talk about Gerrit Cole's meltdown on Friday because there's just kind of a lot to break down there, but we will preface this by saying the umpiring was not good on Friday on both sides. And we have to of course, talk Xander Bogaerts and the batting title race. And Alex Cora made some really kind of funny and interesting comments after Saturday's game about Yankees fans cheering for the Red Sox. Yes, Yankees fans were cheering for the Red Sox. We will talk about all of that in today's episode. So we already talked about Thursday's 5-4 loss, and Friday they lost by that same score, and they lost Saturday 7-5. So while there still were things to like about the games and the offense and everything, it honestly doesn't matter at this point. We have 12 games left, and we know that the Red Sox are not going to the postseason at these points. These games do mean nothing virtually to them, but they do mean something to the Yankees. So it would have been nice for the Red Sox to get a win or two. They still have Sunday, so that's why we have Sunday, right? But Friday, the Yankees avoided a 6th-inning rally from the Red Sox to win. The offense was good, but the umpiring was bad, and Gerrit Cole continued to struggle against the Red Sox. This is probably not the team you want your ace of the staff, one of your stronger pitchers to struggle against. This is your rival. This is what it's all about, right? And he just cannot figure out the Red Sox. He cannot figure out Rafael Devers. And pretty soon, I mean, the Yankees as a whole can't really figure out Tristan Casas. But after Gerrit Cole struck out JD Martinez to end the top of the 6th inning, you could tell that Cole was mad. He was really just starting to kind of you could see the anger starting to build, and he did give up a game-tying 3-run bomb to Alex Verdugo in that 6th inning, and he took his anger out on Brian Knight, the home plate umpire. And as he walked off the mound, he pointed and yelled in Knight's direction. And we've seen umpires go on a power trip. We've seen them throw people out for much less than what Gerrit Cole did. And it really seemed like Cole was blaming Brian Knight for the home run that he allowed to Alex Verdugo. And before we knew it, Gerrit Cole was tossed out of the game. His outing probably was over at that point anyway. He had 103 pitches after that 6th inning, after the 6th inning ended. He did allow 4 runs on 5 hits. He walked 2. He did strike out 8. So there was, the positive there for Gerrit Cole. But Gerrit Cole was convinced that he struck Verdugo out on a 1-2 pitch on a 99-mile-per-hour fastball. It was at the bottom of the strike zone, and Brian Knight didn't see it that way. He did call it a ball, and that's when Verdugo hit the game-tying 3-run home run on the very next pitch. So yeah, I completely understand why Cole was mad, but I think the pitch was a ball. I think Brian Knight got it right, and he made some bad calls on both ends. It was a very ugly showing behind the plate, and we've seen some really ugly umpiring, not just with Red Sox, not just with the Yankees, but throughout MLB, not just this season, but for a lot of, especially the last few seasons. But I do think it was close, but I do think it was the right call at the end of the day. And Aaron Boone also was tossed from the game. So it was, it looked like the Red Sox had this momentum. They were like, okay, the Yankees, we're in the Yankees' heads. We're under their skin. The home plate umpire sucks right now. Let's use this to our advantage. But just couldn't work out that way. They ended up losing 5-4, the same score they lost by on Thursday. But after the game, Alex Verdugo, of course, had to be asked about his home run and the Gerrit Cole, Brian Knight situation, and he was like, it wasn't even close. He said he can complain all he wants. The goal of this game is to throw it over the white plate. He wants to steal every pitch, and he wants his catcher to steal it, and he's just mad that the outcome happened on our side today. If you go and look at any of those pitches, whether you're a pitcher, a hitter, a scout, just a fan, clearly balls. It's just frustration. That's pure anger. Giving up a game-tying homer, he's definitely pissed off. But at the end of the day, you got to throw a strike, and those pitches were not strikes. And then he went on to finish his quote by saying, big pitch, big situation. He wanted it, but the umpire got that call right. And yeah, Verdugo is absolutely right. He's, like I said, that pitch was close. And at the end of the day, the Yankees still won the game. So, but I do understand the frustration. I understand that you think you have somebody struck out. You think you struck somebody out, and all of a sudden the umpire's like, no. And then the next pitch, you give up the game-tying home run. I get it. I get it. But like Verdugo said, you do have to throw strikes at the end of the day. And sometimes being a pitcher is figuring out what the hell the umpire strike zone is, because sometimes that's a game and a whole other challenge in and of itself. But he threw his fit. He said what he had to say, and he was tossed from the game. Like I said, it probably didn't matter to Cole at that point. I think that's part of why he was just like, I don't care. I have over 100 pitches. I'm probably not coming back out. Let me just say what I have to say. And I said this on Twitter when Alex Cora got ejected a few months ago, I think at this point, that once a manager or a player gets ejected, I just love when they lose their mind, because there is nothing else for them to lose. They've been tossed. They're going to get in the umpire's face. They're going to draw in the dirt. They're going to just say what they want to say. They're going to lose their mind. So I always love a good pitcher, manager, player, whoever. I love a good meltdown before they make their way, do the walk of shame down the tunnel. But like I said, at the end of the day, the Yankees got the last laugh. They ended up winning the game. And much like Thursday, Aaron Judge did not hit a home run. He is sitting on 60 home runs. We're going to talk about Aaron Judge in our second segment of the Locked On Red Sox podcast. Maybe he's a little bit in his head. Is he feeling too much pressure from having those 60 home runs with having his family, Roger Maris's family there? What is going on with Aaron Judge? Spoiler alert, it's probably nothing. We'll get into all of that just as soon as I tell you about BetOnline. BetOnline.net is your number one source for football betting info this season. The Patriots are trying to move to above 500 in week 3 in their home opener against the Ravens on Sunday. Make sure you head to BetOnline to check out the latest odds, the player developments, the team matchup news, podcasts, and in-depth articles and analysis on every game you can find. If you're not a Patriots fan, if you're a Ravens fan, Dolphins fan, whoever, betonline.net has you covered. And as always, BetOnline remains the continued source for all of your sport wagering information, with live betting and up-to-the-minute scores for every sport out there. This is the fastest and the easiest way to check in on all of your favorite games and events, including MLB, MMA, boxing, and even golf. Head to betonline.net or use your mobile device to learn more. That's BetOnline, where the game starts. So Saturday's game, it was not much better in terms of wins-losses for the Red Sox, because they did not win. They came up short for the third consecutive game against New York. They lost 7-5. They had a pair of home runs, one from Tristan Casas, who was just really loving playing the Yankees. And I am loving watching him. I think his 4 out of his 5 home runs or something are against the Yankees, 3 of his home runs. It's something absurd where he's just really seeing the ball well against the Yankees. And listen, that is the team you want to be able to be successful against, especially he's so young. He has such a big future ahead of him and a bright future. If you're going to get to the Yankees early, that is a very, very good sign. So it was nice to see him hit that home run and give the Red Sox the lead at that time. But unfortunately, they could not hold on to that lead. Much like Friday's loss, the biggest headline, of course, is Aaron Judge. He did not once again hit a home run. So he's still on 60 home runs. He is on the verge of making history. We've been talking about this since Wednesday. Yankees fans have been talking about it for a long time when it became a legitimate possibility. And Yankee Stadium is packed. Yankee Stadium is loud. Yankee Stadium boos when he gets walked, unintentionally even. So there is a lot of hype, understandably, around Aaron Judge tying and breaking the American League home run record. He finished 0 for 3. He's now gone 1 for 9. With 3 walks and 3 strikeouts against Red Sox pitching so far this series. He has one final shot to tie this record and maybe even break the record that Roger Maris set in 1961 on Sunday before Boston leaves town. Even if he doesn't make it even if he doesn't do it on Sunday, it's coming eventually. It's only a matter of time before he just kind of either gets out of his own head or his bat wakes up or he just gets that one pitch. All it takes is one pitch, one swing of the bat, and that is it. That's all he needs to really get back into this groove. The Red Sox lineup, though, despite those 2 home runs, they struck out 12 times and stranded 11 runners on base. We talked so much earlier in the season, like April, May, that they just could not do anything with runners in scoring position. And it's just that storyline never went away. It just seemed to get better because they started to win games. They started to find their groove. They could leave men on base and they'd still win games. So it didn't really become too much of a black eye on this team but here we are again bringing it up because it just goes to show that it's been a problem all season. But the bright spot, of course it was Xander Bogaerts. He was only one of 2 Red Sox players to have a multi-hit game. He went 2 for 4. And with that hit, he leads the AL in batting average. We'll talk about that in just a second. But this time for the Yankees, it was Anthony Rizzo who decided the game in the 7th inning. He hit a home run off John Schreiber. And coming into Saturday's game, Schreiber was really successful about not giving up home runs. He'd only allowed 2 homers all season going into Saturday's game. Unfortunately, that number now is 3, and that just put the game away for the Yankees. And after the game, I thought this was really, really kind of cool and really kind of funny that Alex Cora told reporters that he heard Yankees fans cheering for the Red Sox in the 9th inning because they were down 7-5 and they had the bases loaded. And guess what? They didn't score. But the Yankees fans, Alex Cora said he heard them saying, "Let's go Red Sox." And he said he heard someone say, "Alex, let's go, score 2." And when you hear Yankees and Red Sox fans, they're not normally cheering for one another, let alone like Yankees fans in Yankee Stadium. And Alex Cora said it was kind of weird. The last inning, there was a section toward right field that they start chanting, "Let's go Red Sox." And it was a bunch of Yankees fans. They were wearing their jerseys. There's a guy right next to me saying, "Let's go, Alex, let's go, score 2." If you get this place chanting, "Let's go Red Sox," you're the man. And it goes to show how much these fans truly want Aaron Judge to hit the 61st home run. We all know why they were cheering, "Let's go Red Sox." It wasn't because they really wanted the Red Sox to tie the game or take the lead, but they wanted to see Aaron Judge lead off the bottom of the 9th inning and win it on a home run. I mean, you couldn't script it better, right? But the Red Sox played spoiler alert to that. But I thought that was just kind of cool. I don't think we'll ever see Yankees fans chanting for Red Sox to score. Maybe Sunday if they're in the same position, but I just thought that was a fun little tidbit. And as I mentioned, Xander Bogaerts, who is just the storyline of this team for so many reasons and probably more negative than positive because of his looming contract. But with his multi-hit game on Saturday, after not being in the lineup Friday, has now taken over the AL batting title race lead. After Saturday, he's now batting .315 with Aaron Judge right behind him at .314. So this is going to probably be a race till the end. These are 2 people who are just very good offensively, and they've been very good offensively all season. Of course, Aaron Judge, we know what he's doing at this point. And it makes you wonder if he's just feels so much pressure from fans, from himself. He knows what's at stake. He knows what the record is. He knows that the Triple Crown is within reach, but he's not going to be stuck on 60 for the rest of the season. What a story that would be if that ended up being the case. But there's no reason for me to think that he'll stay on 60. But I really want to see Xander Bogaerts win this AL batting title, not just because he plays for the team that I cover and grew up watching, but because in a season that's been a down season for Bogaerts and a down season for the Red Sox, and you have somebody who potentially could win a batting title on an AL East last place team, bottom of the barrel here, not making the postseason, and you have Xander Bogaerts, who, like I said, not having the most powerful year, not having the best year at the plate, could win the batting title. This just goes to show how important he is to the Red Sox, how good he is at the plate, even when he's not 100% healthy. And it just gives the Red Sox another reason to go out and make sure you do not lose this guy in free agency. So that's a fun little storyline to keep our eyes on for the rest of the season. It's going to be close. I really hope Bogaerts just wins because the Red Sox need some sort of win for this season because it's been filled with a lot of losses. It's been filled with a lot of agony. Just let us have this one, please. That's all we ask. We just want Xander Bogaerts to win the AL batting title. Coming up in our third segment of the Locked On Red Sox podcast, as we always do, we'll end this show on the Mental Health Minute. So not that he's ever going to hear this, but I just really wanted to commend Brad Stevens for what he said on Friday. There was a press conference here. If you're not a Celtics fan or an NBA fan, good for you. That is one less stress factor to have in your life. But their head coach, Ime Udoka, was suspended for the entire upcoming season due to a consensual yet inappropriate relationship with a Celtics staffer. And then more reports have come out that he reportedly made unwanted comments toward her. And they did an internal investigation when they discovered this was a thing in July, I believe it was. And the co-owner Wick Grossbeck and Brad Stevens, president of basketball operations, met with the media on Friday to talk about the suspension as much as they could. With these things, there's always going to be, we're not going to say things out of privacy, and we're probably never going to know all of the details, and that's okay. It's not our business. But once the news came out that he was having a relationship with a staff member, people of the internet dragged all these women from Celtics. Anyone who worked for the Celtics, if you're associated with the Celtics, you probably saw your picture on the internet being like, I wonder if it was this person who was having the relationship with Ime Udoka. It was just several women getting their pictures, their titles. And it's so, I understand the curiosity. The first thing we do when somebody dies is, oh, I wonder what happened. And if somebody's having an affair, it's like, oh, with who? Who is it? Is it somebody? Is it internal? Is it external? Like, who are they having an affair with? It's natural to be curious, and that's fine. But then when you go to the internet and you're taking these women's pictures and you're plastering them on the internet, accusing them or being like, this is definitely her, when these people may have nothing to do with what happened, that could be really damaging to their lives, to their personal lives, to their marriage, if they're married or in long-term relationships. And while I do think that they maybe should have said something a bit sooner than the Celtics did, Brad Stevens really came out and he was super emotional. He was very angry. He was fighting back tears and he was just like, we can't control Twitter. We can't control the BS. And Brad Stevens does not swear. So when he swears, it is serious. And he just said it's our job as an organization to protect the women. We have very talented women on our staff. They've worked really hard. And it was just a good moment in a crappy situation because the focus of the Ime Udoka story went from Ime Udoka to, well, what woman was it? And that's not the point of that story. And being a woman in sports, I have faced my own harassment. I've faced my own unwanted comments, nothing like some of my peers have, and I feel very fortunate for that. I've been doing this for 8 years, which is crazy to think about. I've been in the media for 8 years. So yes, I've heard my fair share of comments. Nobody from teams or anything like that, but I have been dragged through the mud on the internet. I've had comments made about me and stupid comments about, oh, how'd you get your job, about this and that? Like, just shut up. Like, this is 2022. Women can do whatever they want to do. And if that's work in sports, that's work in sports. But to see just how Brad Stevens responded to the women on his staff and just kind of just make it known that they saw what happened. Everyone saw what happened, and that there was team meetings, there was help and whatever that they needed. They knew that they were supported. And I think that's important right now, especially when the internet is a vile place. And like Brad Stevens said, you can't control what's on there, but as an organization, they have to protect everyone on their staff, not just the women, but these women were wrongfully dragged through the mud. You could find their names. You could easily look up their social media and everything. There's a lot of information you can find out by doing a quick Google search, but none of that had to happen. It's just the internet being a vile place. But I just thought that was, in a kind of a darker moment for the Celtics, was a bright spot because the women in that front office, I know some of them, they've worked tirelessly to get to where they are. They are so smart. They work so damn hard every single day. And to see some of those women just get dragged for no reason, just because they're beautiful women, was just another reminder that the internet just sucks sometimes. And working in sports, we have to be on the internet. It's our job to be on the internet. So don't be those people. It's fine to be curious. That's in our nature to be curious. I'm very curious about the entire situation too, but it's not our business at the end of the day. And we don't need to drag along innocent people who may or may not have anything to do with what happened. It's between the Celtics, it's between Ime Udoka, it's between him and Nia Long, and the woman or women involved. And that's it. That's it. That's all who needs to be involved is the employer and the people involved. Not me, not you, not anyone else. And we certainly do not need to be dragging innocent people into this situation. And that's all I will say on that matter. Just be a good person. It's really easy to be a nice person. Yes, it's also easy to get wrapped into the drama and all of that. I 100% understand, but I promise it's easier to be a nicer person. Thank you for making Locked On Red Sox your first listen of every single day. Please rate, review, and subscribe to Locked On Red Sox right here on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast is where you can find us. Find us on Twitter at LO_Red Sox. Jake at Jake Iggy, he makes his return on Monday. And me, Lauren, 3 Laws, Lauren with 4 R's. Be sure to check out all the other shows across the Locked On Network, Locked On Yankees, Locked On A's, Locked On Mets. Everyone does such a great job here at Locked On, bringing you baseball content Monday through Friday. And now that you've made Locked On Red Sox your first listen, head on over to Locked On MLB to make it listen number 2. Paul Francis Sullivan, just call him Sully, good friend of mine for about 10 years now, brings you his unique perspective on major leaguers, both past and present, using his humor, using his insight, using his knowledge. It is a must listen. You can get it right here on YouTube for free on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcast. Be sure to check back with us Monday. We're going to recap Sunday night's game. Maybe we're going to be talking about how Aaron Judge still is sitting at 60 home runs. Break down Brian Bayo started everything in between. We'll be keeping our eye on that AL batting title race. Until then, have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you Monday. Let's go Red Sox.